Now, we still have some more coming up right here on the show. There's going to be sports. There's going to be our relationship talk. But right about now, let's get into this conversation. Very, very essential one as well. And I want you to be a part of it. Now, you all know that there's one major thing that is about to happen this month, and it's the NPP Primaries. Now, everybody's talking about it, all eyes on it. And we've got the magicians saying their own, the prophets saying their own. We've got the polls also saying their own, and all of that. What eventually is going to happen at the end of the day is the delegates and what would inform their decisions. But of course, some delegates make decisions and they come to pass based on what prophets have said, pollsters have said, and magicians have said. But joining me this morning to have a conversation around that is the man, Michael Donyina Mensah. Michael has over a decade's experience as an international development practitioner, a researcher, and sociopolitical analyst. Now, don't forget that he's the executive director for the Center for Public Opinion and Awareness, SEMPOA, put in short. And he's spending time with us this morning, helping us understand what it means like to be in that situation and what eventually may happen. Now, they have put something together that will be coming out next week, all right? But even before that, let's try and see if we can take a bit of their mind on what exactly the polls will be looking like on the 31st of January. Michael, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Good to have you on the show.
It's my pleasure.
Awesome. First of all, tell us a bit about the organization which we represent.
Yeah, I mean, basically, SEMPOA, Center for Public Opinion and Awareness, is a civil organization. We actually focus on research, opinion polls, civic education. I mean, the whole goal is to amplify the voices of the citizenry to influence public policy.
Okay, and how does it work in your field? What goes into it? What plays a role? What doesn't?
Yeah, so basically, there are a lot of programs that we have. Some of them are actually the research part. We do quite some amount of research to be able to test the pulse of the nation, see what citizens care about, what they think about certain policies, so that we can amplify that. I mean, in the media, like, for example, this, just to let them, the politicians know that, you don't only go every 4 years to the voters to ask for the vote, but the case throughout the whole 4 years, whatever you're doing, they have a say in it. So that's basically what we focus on. And we try to educate the citizens that, hey, your power is not just every 4 years. You have the power to be able to influence what the politicians do. So basically, that's what we focus on.
Okay. And over the period, do we have some of the things that we have done? And
yeah, when you go on our website, when you Google in the news, you see quite a number of things that our voices are actually touching on. So there are quite a lot of things that we're doing. For example, the upcoming primaries, we don't do too many of opinion polls because we feel that is the lesser of what we want to do. Our main focus is to empower the citizens to be able to have a say in governance. But we do also do some of these opinion polls. So we have one that we did on this upcoming primaries, which we'll be publishing next week. But of course, I could share some insights as well. No.
Let's get into it. I mean, I'm excited about it. And since you're getting me there, let me just get into it right now. What informed the decision to even try and get into that elections and see what possibly the outcome will be?
Yeah, so with the work that we did, you see, our focus is not really trying to predict,
okay,
but to really try to understand the dynamics that may influence the final outcome. So our focus is not just to predict who's going to be the winner. To look at,
there's going to be a prediction at the end of the day. Someone has to be winning.
I mean, so the report will actually give an indication of what might happen. But this is politics. This is delegates, and the statement that fear delegates is still very important. Because at the last minute, last minute changes. You see, one thing is that when some of these reports come, some of the politicians do actually take it seriously and work on the deficiencies. So the last minute...
Others to rubbish it, by the way.
And we have a political system that is very monetized. So at the last minute, the highest bidder can even pull surprises. So that's why it is not very necessary to really be hammering on the predictive part, but the informative part where, you're able to inform people, including the voters themselves, the politicians, to be able to adjust and address issues that come up in such reports.
Okay. In this regard, you're dealing with delegates, not a general space
Dealing
where you
specifically
have
delegates.
Exactly.
Right.
How do you guys get into the minds of the delegates? Yes, the petition aside, what it's informing these people and their decision to ensure that maybe Ken or Agyapong or Bawumia, eventually.
Yes, so that's why it's basically just opinions. And, you're assuming that these people are giving you the information and they are giving you the accurate information.
Info that you need.
Of course, but when it comes to research, it's the aggregates that suggest the pattern. So once we might have some people saying things that really will not reflect how they will finally vote, but at least when you aggregate it, it gives you an idea of what can come. It's just about getting the delegates, the register, and then, reaching out to them. Now we have AI, so we can, just create our own. You talk to a bot who asks you all the questions and record all your answers, and we have everything.
And these are representations of the delegates somewhat.
Yes, these are the delegates. Of course, we know who are going to vote. That is not the delegate register is that we know those who are going to vote. So it's just about reaching out to them and then asking them these questions and then getting this information from them. But one thing I would like to also state is that I've observed that, mostly when it comes to campaigns, it's usually different from the elections. Because campaigns, some of these candidates do really have people who are working with them, working for them, going around with them. But when it comes to the actual D-Day, people really want to align with winnable candidates. Okay, so it happens that you see someone who would be campaigning like this current upcoming NPP primaries. We have about 5 candidates, but you see that only 2 candidates, maybe the rest of the other candidates stamped together might not even get up to 10%. But during the campaign, you see them being very vibrant and active. So sometimes some of these things do not really match, but we're trying to do our best to make sure that whatever we put out there represents the reality.
Mostly, what is the challenges? And I'm still looking at the insights of what we're about to experience. What are some of the challenges you face mostly? Yeah,
the challenges actually is the non-responsiveness, because it's sometimes difficult to get people to respond to these surveys. And as I'm saying, during campaign times, some people actually belong to certain camps, but that's not what they are going to finally vote for. So it might sway you off if you take the polls from them. But as I said, the dynamics very important. Like, for example, this upcoming NPP primaries, Dr. Bawumia obviously is the front runner. I think from what we did, he has a 10-point lead ahead of his closest contender, and that is Ken. And of course, though Ken has gained some mileage and made some improvements, there's still that gap that he has given Ken. What we realized was that there's some relatively higher level of attrition on the part of Dr. Bawumia than Ken. I don't want to put out the exact figures. When the report comes out, we'll see that. And what I mean by that is that we have people who were with Bawumia and they are now saying that this coming primaries, maybe they'll be voting for someone else. I mean, we have that higher on the side of Bawumia, but that is understandable. Understandable because there were a lot of other candidates now who were supporting Dr. Bawumia during the last primaries. They were on his side, like Dr. Agyapong. Now he's on his own. So definitely, but as I indicated earlier on, that usually during the campaigns is different from voting day.
The real actually voting period.
On voting day, all these people are now going to re-aggregate around the winnable candidates. So it is highly likely that most of these people who are leaving are now going to come back to Bawumia's camp. You get what I mean? And that would give him that could give him a leverage. Some could also go to Kennedy's camp, and that could also give them a leverage. So that is the dynamic. So one other thing we realized was that about a fifth of the delegates said they were undecided yet. It means that these last days are also very important.
Yeah, we can also make a difference.
We can also make a difference. So, for example, we feel that Dr. Bawumia probably just needs less than half of the undecided voters to be able to sail through and win the primaries. But Ken will need to do a lot of work on the part of the undecided voters to be able to make any meaningful impact.
There's a strong perception that Dr. Bawumia may likely I mean, barring all other circumstances, become the winner at the end of the day. Do you think it's a possibility? Where you said
for the fact that we have about a fifth of the voters undecided means that it is still quite an open race. But of course, as I said, he is the front runner, and if you're going to go by history, like in the previous primaries, he had 61%, and that was the first time a first-timer in the NPP Presidential Primaries is getting over 60. Even Akufo-Addo, in his first outing, he had about 31%. And there's been this pattern where people usually improve with regards to their votes over time. So in their first attempt, whatever they get in their second attempt, they tend to improve over it. As to whether that will be the case in this particular primaries, that is something that we are yet to see. But of course, if we want to go by the trend and the data, once he had 61% in the previous primaries, and as I said, they usually improve, so we should hopefully see something better. But of course, it still remains a bit of an open race, though Dr. Bawumia is the front runner.
With the current situation, and I'm talking about the tension that seems to be coming from the different camps, have there any impact of what happens eventually? I mean, if anything changes at all?
Yeah, now we have a quite a large delegate population that is really going to do the voting. At the top, we've seen some realignments, we've seen some alignments, and some of them are really very interesting. For example, and some of them are very personal. I'll give examples. You see, it's a matter of interest right now. Like, Honorable
what is on the table?
Abena Opare, is on the camp of Kennedy now, and we know that in the previous primaries, she was on the camp of Bawumia, and it looks like, based on what she's saying right now, she's trying to align herself properly because I know she was deputy to Ken Ofori-Atta, and when Ken was leaving office, naturally, she would probably hope that she would step into the shoes because she was deputy finance minister. So if she's sidestepped and somebody else comes in, and it means that she has to look for a space where when, they possibly win, she'll probably be a top contender for that. So people are aligning themselves properly. So a lot of self-interest also comes in. As to whether that alignment really reflects at the grassroots is something that you can't tell, because some of these alignments, as I'm telling you, is not necessarily based on grassroots sentiments. It's based on people's personal interest. Dr. Stephen Amwa, yeah, he couldn't even hide his emotions, came out publicly and said it, so people are really, a lot of self-interest. And
we're going to see more of this as we inch closer and closer?
Yes,
at a point we'll just go off.
No, I mean, I think this is it, because at this point, this is the time that people will show their true colors. Those who are true loyalists of Bawumia will show their true colors. Those who are trying to gamble their way into the system because they think that maybe at this camp, I have an opportunity to be more prominent than. But if you look at both sides, you can see that Dr. Bawumia is still maintaining a lot of the quality, and we should see how things should go.
We'll be wrapping up, but I mean, hopefully when the findings come out, we'll invite you again, and then we can have an extensive conversation on it even before the elections itself. But I want to find out now, the bigger question right now is, whoever wins has a major hurdle, which will be the 2028 elections. Now, potentially, if Bawumia becomes the winner, what are the chances in terms of facing the NDC in 2020?
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have time. I would have given you the pros and cons of each candidate. I would probably like to focus on the top two for the sake of time.
Okay.
You see, one thing is that Dr. Bawumia is an exceptional individual.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he has been a victim of circumstances. He was sitting on the flanks somewhere around 2007, 2008, and the party went and brought him all the way from nowhere to become the vice presidential candidate. I mean, that should tell you he's an exceptional. People, they don't just go choose anybody.
That's true.
That means that
there's some potential.
There's some potential. Yes. And I don't think that potential is lost or was lost. The only thing that sadly I want to say is that he gave out his all during the campaign, but when they came to power, he was sidelined. I think that Nana Akufo-Addo
as the vice president,
he
didn't have a lot of
Nana Akufo-Addo's whole arrangement of entrusting everything into Ken's hands. I know he must be regretting by now into Ken's hands, and then putting Bawumia on the sidelines really didn't help him. At some point, he had to even make himself useful by championing the digital transformation agenda. It was not because he just wanted to. No, it was because he was virtually very
done at that time.
He had to do something because he's an active person. But his main area, he was totally cut off from it. He couldn't control what happened there. And
like we're seeing comparatively what we're seeing the Vice President Donyina do right now.
Yes. So they said he was brought in because of the economy, and he comes in and then he has no say regarding the economy. I mean, what he says doesn't go. So, I mean, he was even everybody's aware in this country that he was against e-levy, but it still went on to. So that should tell you that he was really pushed on the side. So I really believe that even former President Nana Akufo-Addo really owes Bawumia an apology, because he would have, if he had the opportunity to showcase his potential, what he could do, I think these primaries would have been a foregone conclusion. Remember when he became the flag bearer, and Nana Akufo-Addo now, gave him room to operate, and there was a new finance minister. You saw that immediately the economy started, rebounding. And it even rebounded and spilled over into the first months of NDC coming into power. So that shows that if he had been listening to, Nana Akufo-Addo had really listened to him right from day one, he wouldn't have had maybe this unfortunate showing that he had during his presidency.
So the spill-off actually contributed a lot to what we're experiencing right now, as against what the majority is saying.
Oh, I think that we can't give all the credit to the previous government, and we can also say that the current government should take completely every credit, because definitely there was a spill-off, because we started seeing, because the inflation was coming down, the exchange rate was also coming down, slowly. So definitely Ken you understand? So what I'm basically trying to say is that I think that Dr. Bawumia has not been tried enough. His best is yet to come, and if NPP is sticking to their usual tradition, and I told you about the fact that first-time showers always improve. I mean, there's still something in there for him. But let's also come to Ken. I think that Dr. Bawumia, that's his strength. He has it. He has it. But the only weakness was that, he actually was patient, and even throughout all that, when he was maligned, he didn't come out to, disrupt the system. He still swallowed everything. So that was the weakness. But when we come to Ken, I think Ken is a product of the system where a lot of people are disappointed in the status quo. I think we don't have time, right? So a lot of people are disappointed, and they feel that they need to try something else. So Ken is much more like an experiment.
In case he wins, he will be facing NDC as an experiment. Yeah,
so that's the problem. People say that, Ken is outspoken, speaks his mind. Yeah, that is true, but this is not the first time we're having a president who speaks his mind. The first president of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, was somebody who spoke his mind. Flight Lieutenant Jerry Royce. But they did that in a very
decorous way.
You understand what I mean? So that really shouldn't be the big sell-off point. I think the big sell-off point, as I'm telling you, is the fact that people are tired with the status quo and they want to try something new. So as I said, Ken is an experiment. Just like Trump has been an experiment. I don't know whether he has been a successful or a failed experiment. We are still observing. But I think Ken is an experiment. And when he also comes on board, we are only waiting to see what can come out of that. But the fact that the economy predicts how we select our leadership, you can look at Ato Forson, because of how well he's handling the economy, his ratings have gone up and he's being considered for flag bearership. So it means that when it comes to the flag bearership race of the two parties, your understanding of the economy and how to turn things around
will play a major role.
Okay. So there are a lot of dynamics to it, but hopefully we'll get time.
We'll have time to talk about it when the finance come up. But I'm grateful that you're able to join us this morning here and speak on this issue. And that's Michael Donyina joining us this morning here and speaking to us on the issue of the NEC presidential, primaries.
Let's have time.
No, we'll have time. We'll have time to talk about all of that. But thank you so much. He's the Executive Director for Center for Public Opinion and Awareness. And yes, that has been our conversation on this very one here.